Hello everyone, before we go to the video, let me show you what we will be doing. We will be getting information from IP addresses using MaxMind this time. So first we will take care of this web page, and in the second part of the video we'll learn how to update the MaxMind database automatically. Let's go!
Django and Python, JavaScript, tutorials for Jamie, this is Silva.
What the fuck, HTML?
There's only C.
Let's talk about GeoIP tracking with MaxMind in Django. I will be following this post in my blog, link in the description. It starts with a couple of links to the official documentation. So MaxMind works a little bit differently than just requesting IP information to an API. What we really do is we download a MaxMind database to our project, to our web server, and every time we want to request IP information, we access that database. So there's that part, and then there's the other part of this always on task, because this database that I have just mentioned needs to be updated regularly. So I will go to this GitHub repository. I'm gonna leave the link in the description as well, and download it so we can jump to the topic right away instead of create a Django project from scratch. The project name is my site. Let's open that in a text editor, and it contains this app named polls, a class-based view index returning this index template somewhere around here, some HTML code. Let's take a look on what is it looking like. Just a simple web page. Okay, first thing that we will do after this is going to maxmind.com. If you don't have an account, please create one, log in. Once you are in their home page, which will look something like this, let's go to download files and scroll down a little bit, look for GeoLight City and download the zip file. Now MaxMind has multiple databases that you can download. They will provide you with different information, ASN, city and country. We will be using the city database for this tutorial, which contains information about the city, obviously, and also the country. Okay, the download is ready. We can see that it has this name. We will get back to that. I will extract it and open that folder, and this is the file that we want, geolight2-city.mmdb, which stands for MaxMind database. I'm simply going to move this into my site, so it's going to stay in the root of our project. So in here, okay, we have the database. It's that simple. We just need to access it in a class-based view or a Django view. So I will create a getContextData method for this, and instead of returning super, let's return context and put the super to context, let's say, and equal. That's good. Now in the post that I am following, we need to also install GeoIP2. So I'm gonna copy that, go to the command line, paste it. Mine is not going to install because I have installed it previously, but it's a matter of installing that through pip. I have the class-based view URL defined already, and in here I'll do things more simple for the video. So this case contains proxies. I'm not gonna cover this again. I did it in the previous video, and if you want to use this one, it's more robust. I will keep more simple for the video. So we'll get the IP address from a meta tag or a meta key named remote ADDR. So IP is equal to self.request.meta.get and pass in the string named remote underscore ADDR. Now, if for some reason this didn't return any IP address, let's define a default one. So it could be the Google IP address, which is 8888. Once we have the IP address from the user, we will want to request information from the MaxMind database. We can import GeoIP2 database, and we will also need the location of the database. So we can get this from the base directory in settings. Let's import that from django.conf import settings so we can access base there. All right, let's create the reader like this. Reader GUIP2 dot database reader with uppercase, and then we can pass in settings dot base there. Let's join this with the name of this file. We can actually copy it. It's going to be easier, and put it inside the string. Okay, here, put it inside the string, and that's it. We have the reader ready to use. We can get the information from the reader and assign it to a variable response like this, reader.city, and pass the IP address. Now this will return the IP information to the response. So I'm going to assign, for the context of this video, to a dictionary named location. Like this, we will create some keys. Should be enough. First, let's pass the IP. It's always useful. The country, and we get the information from the country like this. Response dot country dot name. We can get the country ISO code, so it's going to be like US for the United States, PT for Portugal, PL for Poland, and we can get it like this: response dot country dot ISO code. Okay, city, very similar, response dot city dot name, and for the last two, latitude and longitude. Longitude. Again, kind of similar response, this time location, latitude, response, location, and longitude. Have a typo in there. Okay. Now, when you finish with the reader, you need to close it. So reader.close. Close. In one final step, let's associate location to context so we can send this information to the front end. Let's make a key named location, for instance, and make it location, the dictionary. All right, that's it for the front. For the backend, it's a more simplified version than what I have in the post. It's good enough for a tutorial. Now in the front end, I will not be typing everything, so I'll scroll down and copy paste this HTML table with the template tags, and yeah, we can add a couple of line breaks in here so it looks better on the front end. And let's go to the browser already and see how things are looking. So the IP address is being the default value because I'm in localhost, so it doesn't recognize it. For this case, it's not showing the city, but let's try to change. It doesn't always show the city, so it depends on the IP address. For this case, 125.810.8, it will show. So it's in Japan, Kyoto, JP, the latitude and longitudes for curiosity. Well, that's about it. I'll make it the Google address again. So this is part one of this video. We're kind of done with this, but there's a catch, an important catch for MaxMind. This file, MMDB, is updated regularly, more precisely, 2 times per week. So I have some information about that in here. The MaxMind update schedule. You can find all of their databases in here. We are using GeoLight City, and the update schedule for GeoLight City is going to be every Tuesday and Friday. What does this mean for us? We need to download the database on these days, or if you prefer, the next day, Wednesday and Saturday. Now, we don't want to come here every Tuesday and Friday and download this manually. We will automate this process. I will show you a Python script I have created for this. There are alternatives. For me, I think it's more simple to just go with the script and handle this directly. Okay, we're basically will go through this now. You don't need to type this along. I will just type so I can talk about it a little bit and explain parts of it. Anyway, I will create a new Python script and will let it stay on the root of the project. I will name it geolight2-update.py. Doesn't really matter, just to keep the pattern in there. You can name it whatever you want. And later, the point is to associate this to an always on task. Now, I'm not going to cover that part. This will depend on what server you are using, but it's a matter of configuring this script to be executed, for this case, every Tuesday and Friday or so. Let's start this by importing from pathlib path. We will need that. And we can start with defining base there. So in this case, we will define it just like we did in settings.py, or how it comes by default to be more precise. So path, we get this file that we are writing on and get the absolute path and say that what we want is the directory of the parent of this file that we are writing on. Okay, we will need to define an ID and a key that we will get from MaxMind in a moment. I will put them in here so I can hide from you actually. Let's do that already actually. Let's get back to MaxMind. I'm gonna bring it in here. And in the left side menu, you will have this link to manage license keys. You'll be redirected to something like this. So, gonna generate a new license key to show you how it looks like. It's going to have a name like this. You can confirm. The key it's going to be in here. You can copy, and probably it's a good idea to download this file, okay? Because if you come back to MaxMind later, you don't have access anymore to the key. But if you download the file, the key will always be in there. So if it's an important thing for you, make sure that you save this in a secure way. Anyway, I will copy paste this into. Alright, we have the ID key and also the base directory. Now let's create the URL to where we will request the database from MaxMind. We can find this URL in the MaxMind page. Scroll down a little bit where we were previously, download files, look for the GeoLite city, and get permalinks. It's going to be the database URL. You can copy paste that, and I will already close this page. Simply going to paste it in here. Okay, let's create a node tuple with the ID and the key. So we will pass this in the request later. We also need to say where will we save the download. Let me close this, and I will say that it's going to be in the base directory and give a name to the file that we are downloading. So save path could be base there with some name, could be anything, but let's keep the same format. Geo2 geolite to city dot tar dot gz. Okay, we know that we will save the download in here, and now it's a matter of taking care of the request. We will save the request response to response requests dot get. We need to import request, send the URL out as well, and because this gets to be a bigger download, around 60 megabytes, 70 megabytes, let's use stream. Okay, and later we will take care of this with chunks. Import requests. Now the response may be successful or not. If response status code is different than 200, it means that it was not successful. So we can display some message, let's say download failed. Now in a real scenario, you will need to do something more precise to handle this error. Now if the response is successful, we will want to write the response to the save path. But since this is coming as a stream, we need to take care of this in a specific way. Let's do that with save underscore path open as write binary, wb as f. Okay, so for a chunk in response, and we need to iterate in the response with iter underscore content. Commonly used is chunk size equal to 1992. Alright, which is 8K. Don't forget the column. And if there's a chunk, we will write the chunk to the file. So f write the chunk. That's it. With this, we make sure that we are storing the download in this file. Alright, let's continue a little more. Actually, I'm going to drag this to this screen. and follow from there. Okay, we have the download file stored in GeoLite 2 city tar gz. Now we want to extract this into some file. Let's do that with tar file, that open save path. Okay, and we know that we need to open this as a tar file or compressed, I believe, as tar. So we can address it as tar, extract all path. It's going to be the base directory, base there. Now we need to import tar file, import tar file, and should be good. So before we continue, we can try to see what's happening in command line when we run this script. So Python GeoIP update. Let's take a look in here. It created the tar file. It's still running. The download takes a while. Okay, let's wait. After this, it should extract the content and delete the gz file. And there you go. It extracted into this file with the date in the database. So this would represent the updated database. Okay, and it's what we want. So after this, let me open again this post. After this, what we will do, it's to move this file inside the GeoLite 2 city folder with the date to the root of our project and get rid of this. So everything looks the same. All right, let's do just that. Let's create this variable extracted folders is equal to list and base there dot globe, so we can grab the file, so we can grab the folder without saying the, and use globe so we can grab the folder without its full name, because the date will be different every time. So we can say that it's going to be equal to geolite 2 dash city underscore and pass in an asterisk. So this part will be a variable, let's say, because the date is different every time. So if for some reason it didn't get anything, we will need to take care of an error. So if not extracted folders, you can raise an error. File, raise, file not found, error. So file not found. Can write something more detailed. For the context of the video, I'm gonna leave it like that. Otherwise, we'll get just the first folder. So you can do it like this, the first one in the list. So for this case, there's only one. So we know that the source, let's define this as mmdb underscore source, is equal to the extracted folders and the name of the file. I'm simply going to copy paste it from there like this, and we know the destination as well. Let's define that as mmdb underscore, let's make it dest for destination. It's going to be the base directory, and again the same name for the database, so we keep it simple. Now, like I was saying previously, there are two scenarios. There's no mmdb file in the root, or there is an mmdb file. So if mmdb destination exists, we need to remove it before we create a new one in here, so we avoid problems. We can do this like so, and link just like we did before for the save path. So basically at this point we are deleting the database in the root. Let me go back to the Python script. So now we are ready to move the new database, the updated database, to the root of our project. Let's do that with shuttle. So shuttle, move, transform that into a string, mmdb source to, again, a string, mmdb destination. We need to import shuttle, import shuttle, and there's one last thing that we can do, which is remove this folder. Okay, let's do that. Shuttle, remove 3 extracted folders. So this will then delete the extracted folder. Before we do anything, I'm going to delete it. Yeah, should be good. We can leave those in there. One final message for success, for the context of this tutorial. Database GeoLite to city updated successfully. That's about it. Of course, we will test this right now. Again, let's clean this. It will take a while for the download, and then the rest of the process should be very quick. I don't even know if we can see what will happen, but we know that it happens. Now it's a matter of assigning this to an always on task. For this specific case, you know it's running, or you know that they are updating this database every Thursday and Friday. It's just a matter of creating that always on task. Yeah, uh, this is a convenient solution for websites with a lot of traffic, and in this way you can avoid request limits. There you go, it's ready. You cannot even see this because it's too fast. That's it for this video. I hope you liked it. A bit of a longer video, but there you go. IP tracking with MaxMind. Planning to do something about user agents soon. Still a little bit related to this area of IT. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all the support. And I hope this is useful for you. And all good. Bye.